Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Islamic Only podcast. Right now, no one's watching.
Why are we still here? Just to suffer?
But before we get to that, let us bring on our special guest, Brother Amy and Jay. Basically, how this drama started is that Apostate Aladdin made a refutation video to Apostate Prophet.
OMG!
And I was kind of interested in that because it seems like they're just infighting. And I found this hilarious because these people always blame Muslims for infighting. So let's react to what he said. By the way, I want to make something clear. In this video, I'm not defending like Apostate Aladdin. Like, I don't like this guy. Okay, I've criticized him.
Neither do I.
However, in this situation, he is defending Gaza. He's against the genocide, or at least it seems like, right? So on this point, I think we can agree with him at least on this point. This doesn't mean we endorse anything this guy says.
The problem was the climate created by his channel's audience. Picture this. You're a Muslim or an ex-Muslim, and you tune into a live stream where an atheist and a Christian make cringy, lowbrow jokes about Islam for hours on end, with an audience of Christians and Hindus empathically cheering on. Imagine how disturbing and alienating and hostile that feels.
I like that he at least acknowledged this because this is true. I mean, that's like basically what he does. You know, like both Apus and David Wood, their whole content is there to make Muslims angry. This will gonna get them views. That's why they're doing it.
Was all that AP went through really worth it if he now relies on super chats like these to pay the bills?
They're getting super chats $50, bro.
Here comes the money.
Here we go.
Money talk.
Here comes the money.
For what?
It's crazy, man.
Ever since AP and Diesel went to Israel, I have no one to whom to make filthy, I'm not gonna say that, jokes about how go to alien trajectory. So yeah, this is the kind of disgusting comment, and this is the kind of disgusting people that are paying them, you know. So of course they're gonna more appeal to this kind of extreme Islamophobes and hateful bigots, you know.
Not surprised. Not surprised. This is the crowd that they attract anyway, Islamophobes.
Yeah.
Stop unconditionally supporting and praising Israel's every move. He says the most dehumanizing things about Palestinians, while presenting himself as a fair and nuanced crusader of the truth. In this tweet, he recognizes that Israelis cannot be considered culpable in fair game just because they're Israeli. He understands the concept of an innocent civilian. While in this tweet, he responds to a picture of a woman's demolished home by saying, "Play stupid games, win stupid prizes."
He's saying the exact same thing as Zionist apologists would say. And they're the people that will say these kind of disgusting things. They will say things like, oh, you know, all of people of Gaza are like basically terrorists. That's their argument. They're making a distinction between actual civilians versus militants, right? And that's exactly what he's doing. But when it comes to Jews in Israel, all of a sudden there is a distinction. So I think the point he's making, he's absolutely correct, which is that he clearly has a double standard when it comes to Muslims, which shows he hates Muslims. That's all what it's about. So we're going to end this here, and then we're going to react to the response from David Wood and Apostate Prophet.
Hello, everybody, and welcome. This is the Apostate Prophet. Welcome to this live stream where we want to address critics and also terrorists.
He's trying to mock his good friend Apostate Aladdin.
Look at this mood that's going crazy.
Today we want to talk about in Nigeria, a terrorist movement. Freedom fighters kidnapped a bunch of women and children.
By the way,
He's referring to Boko Haram, right?
Yeah, Boko Haram. No one is claiming Boko Haram is a resistance fighter.
Yeah.
So apparently, according to the news, it is indeed the Islamic terrorist group Boko Haram that attacked civilians and attacked a school.
And so that's a situation where they want to take over like people's lands and they target Christians. But then you just have like just straight up criminal organizations. Like they don't really care. They don't really care about Islam or Christianity. They would probably tend to target Christians more because there'd be less concern of retaliation.
Yes, like Muslims just goes around in Africa and just targets Christians, right? That's what happens. Okay, well, let's actually learn what's actually going on in some parts of Africa, because the way that like he's like talking about like what's happening in Africa, he's just acting as if like Africa is just full of like these terrorist Muslims, and like all Muslims in Africa are just going around like, you know, kidnapping people, which is not true. As a matter of fact, let's see what Christians are up to in Africa. But it's actually a very gruesome story.
Says CAR cannibal why ate a man's leg. Religious violence in the Central African Republic has reached a new extreme with an act of cannibalism in the capital, Bangui. A Muslim man had been murdered here a few days ago by the Christians.
There's times that might be needed.
His limbs were hacked off, oh my god. Then one of the crowd ate the flesh in a public demonstration of cannibalism. Okay.
All right, so let me explain a little bit of context, right? So basically, in CAR, or Central African Republic, there was a armed militia. Basically, their name was Salaka or something like that. I could be getting the name wrong, but yeah. So basically, there's an armed militia which had a lot of Muslims members, but it was not some kind of Islamic group, or it was not some kind of Islamist terrorist group. But because there were a lot of Muslim members, some Christians decided to had the bright idea and thought that, you know what, since Muslims are going around attacking, we could do the same thing. Now, this militia group was actually dissolved later on. And then later on, Christians formed another group, right? So this is basically known as the anti-Balaka, I believe, anti-Balaka. And this group were encouraged by the rampant Islamophobia there. And so basically in CAR, or Central African Republic, Muslims are constantly being attacked. And this is one of those examples.
Oh my God. Okay. We were filming nearby when a young man in yellow t-shirt came up to talk to me. I'm the naughty one, he said in broken French. Puzzled, I shook his hand and was trying to use the machete tucked into his skinny jeans. I'm the naughty one.
And what's funny is that when he says that why he attacked him, he said that he looked like a Muslim. The reason why this happened is because they just hate Muslims. And people like David Wood are egging them on, because these are Christians. And this is what I find funny, right? Like, so David Wood has massive issues with when Muslims are kidnapping people, which, okay, fine, you can have issues with that. But then why are you not reporting things like this? Central African Republic, Muslims held captive and RAPED. Again, this has also happened in Central African Republic. It was released in 2015, but this group is still active. Even in 2023, there was a massacre.
Nairobi,
so this anti-Balaka is basically the Christian terrorist group.
Okay. At least 42 Muslim herders, mostly women and girls, are being held captive by anti-Balaka fighters in the Central African Republic. Members of one family Human Rights Watch interviewed on April 13th, 2015 described the horrors they endured during 14 months of captivity in Pondo, a village in the southwest. The anti-Balaka killed 2 boys aged about 6 and 7 and 3 young women and girls, one of whom became ill and died in captivity. Her year-old baby died of malnutrition. Oh my God, that's horrible. The surviving family members were rescued on April 4th and 5th.
This Christian sounds so nice, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, it's what David Wood is trying to portray. Oh, Christians are just victims, innocent.
Exactly.
No, Christians can be terrorists as well. They can very much be as brutal, if not more brutal, than Boko Haram. And yet no one is reporting this. This group is still active, by the way. They get hired by even governments, and they're going around butchering Muslims. But the thing is that no news articles talks about African Muslims and what they're facing or what they're going through. So why is it that David Wood and Apus have some massive issues when Muslims kidnap like Christians, but when Christians do the same, all of a sudden they're silent? Even if you're not a Muslim, clearly I hope that you can see the hypocrisy these people have. And the hatred they have. They clearly have hatred towards Muslims. So this is another report by Amnesty International. I think it came out in 2015. Central African Republic, unprotected Muslims forced to abandon religion. Muslims returning to ethnically cleansed area of Western Central Africa, African Republic, CAR, have in some cases been forced to abandon their religion, said Amnesty International in report published today. So basically, it almost turned into like the age of Jahiliyyah. They're being forced out of Islam. These Christian extremists forcing them out of Islam.
Well, according to the news, it is indeed the Islamic terrorist group Boko Haram that attacked civilians and attacked a school and then began kidnapping children. And it is reported that they kidnapped around 300 children and also hundreds of women in order to use them to press their demands and their goals and all of that. And of course, there's nothing wrong with that because recently we've learned that, for example, Hamas employed similar tactics. They went into the civilian population, massacred a bunch of people, and also raped and kidnapped a bunch of.
You're a fool, with all due respect, and you're ignorant of these things.
Here he's committing another fallacy. Like the Hamas situation and like Boko Haram situation is no way similar. First of all, like the Palestinians are fighting for their land. Here, the terrorist is actually the Israelis. They're on their land illegally.
There won't be much retaliation against these guys because they have kind of free reign in Nigeria. But imagine where you had a strong government that wanted to do something about these terrorists, and they said, we're going to go get these guys. And like the entire world starts screaming, no, ceasefire, 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 man. They took all these girls. They took all.
Are you sick in the mind? Are you that mentally enslaved and intellectually subservient and intellectually molested and ideologically molested?
Like, is this guy, like, how, like, moronic do you have to be to say that when Israel is butchering innocent people, and when people say, hey, maybe you should stop, that is the same as, like, some government fighting Boko Haram. Like,
totally not the same thing, man.
How does that logic? Are you dumb?
I mean, if he thinks that the Palestinian resistance movement is similar to Boko Haram, then he needs to have his head examined.
Yeah, so basically they're committing the history generalization fallacy. They're saying that, you know, because some people in Palestine committed a crime, if all of them committed a crime, which doesn't logically follow.
Yeah,
Same thing
exactly.
with Africa. Like if some Boko Haram commits a crime, this doesn't mean all Muslims in Africa are committing crime. That's racist. You know, like I don't know like how else to say it. Because the thing is that this is how these fascist evil scumbags justify killing children. They generalize.
Yeah, but there was something about his delivery that made me uneasy. He had a
You're
tone-
complaining about his delivery. Hey, dude, serious.
Here we go.
That's what people spent
Okay,
years complaining about me for, my delivery, because I'm being like sarcastic and stuff like this, and you're not supposed to do that. Guess what? That's what people actually listen to. So if you're
He's not wrong, by the way. But he's not wrong, by the way. He's not wrong.
I get what he's saying. But did you hear?
It's a YouTube technique. Yeah.
Did you guys hear what he said?
Yeah, I did.
He said that
Yeah,
people complain to him that his delivery is not good. He's mocking Islam and all this, being sarcastic and all this.
Yes.
It's not good.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Many Christians are
Yeah.
saying this, right? But he still does
Yes,
it
that's right.
because that's what people watch. So it's
Because,
about
because
the
that's
views.
what people watch, and yes, it's about the views, and of course about the money,
Eating
the mullah.
Quran. All of this
Yeah.
is a stunt to get the views. And this is what
Yeah.
I found so funny. He literally admitted this in this video that
Yeah.
the reason he does
Yeah.
mocks the Prophet, the reason he mocks Muslims is because he wants the views.
For views.
You know, and thank you guys for joining. And inshallah, I'll see you guys next time. Yeah, also, if you guys like the video, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and subscribe to brother Amin. Just
That
channel.
way.
Assalamualaikum.